Hi, Lala. Welcome to Inside the Industry.
Hello.
How are you? I miss you. I haven't seen you in so long, and I'm very honored to have you here.
Literal years, probably, maybe.
Years. It's crazy for so many people that do not know you. I met you, I mean, when we talk about, multifaceted women, and I met you years ago, like you're saying. You had to be all but what, 17?
16, 17, yeah.
16, 17, because I remember walking into Alcone Studios, and that's where you were at, working at the time. We're going to fast forward you really quick, but as far as you and I meeting, I was like, who is this gorgeous woman? I hadn't seen you there before because I would obviously frequent buying and going in, but I was like, who is she? You were so sweet. We like connected because I worked with your dad on film.
I know, I was going to say.
Like, what? You were like, yeah, no, I actually know of you because you did makeup on my dad's. I was like, that is wild, because I already knew of you, of him telling me about you, to be like, my daughter's a singer, support her music. And I was like, of course. So I had already known of you before meeting you, which was wild to me.
Same with you too.
Yeah, that is pretty crazy. Now, I want you to kind of take me through that a bit, because you're still, talk about we met at 17, but you are still very young. I was telling some other guests I still consider myself a youth, if you will. I'm approaching 30, but I still feel very young in the industry.
You're as old as you feel, right?
Right, exactly. I'm like, I'm getting there, but like, I still feel really young. It's like 19 at heart. How old are you present day right now?
I am 22.
Oh my God. Okay. So stop it. Which is infuriating, but also insanely inspiring, because you have, I feel like, sans pandemic, take this pandemic out of it, I have never seen a person, I consider myself a go-getter, okay? I consider myself a hustler.
You are.
I have goals, but when I tell you something, no, you are like the epitome of hustler, go-getter. You have a goal, you set it, you have a dream, you have a passion, and you really give it like your full tilt all in every aspect. I mean, you were a young child star on Broadway. In Pacific, I never say it right. It's what, Pacific?
South Pacific.
South Pacific. I'm horrible at Broadway. I should never work on Broadway. I'm not good enough. Never know the names. South Pacific, and then you've got in movies, and then you do your music, and you've just gone in modeling. Like, there's so many things you've done, and I think you've kind of now at 20, a young 22, have like been like, you know what? I think I know what I want now. I love that, because so many people are like 40 or 50, like, I think I figured it out, and you're like, I'm 22. I've been around the block. This is what I want to do. And I want to kind of let you tell us about that, what you've kind of stepped to in now being 22, and what passion has taken the forefront for you.
Oh, thank you so much. That means a lot to me, because I feel like I'm working hard, and sometimes I'll even say to my friends, like,
yeah,
I don't feel like I'm doing anything, and they're like, oh, shut up. But you have that same mindset, so I know you understand that as a go-getter, it's never enough for you, which I think can drive you that way. But right now, the passion that's taking the forefront for me is definitely music.
Yeah.
I had done makeup previously, and then my acting career kind of like picked up, and that was really going for a while. But music has always been the thing that I've just connected to. Music saved my life. I feel like it's so healing, and it just, everyone, like, sometimes I'll even listen to songs and then years later hear it again, and I'll be like, oh, I didn't even hear that melody or that little harmony they put in the background. And there's always something to learn and hear from music, for me personally.
That's actually very true, because even from a child, I mean, you can listen to a song and it means something too, lyrically to you differently, and then where you're at in life and you interpret it a whole different way. So it really does evolve over the years, which is crazy.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Oh my God.
I even stepped away from acting for a while, for a few years, and then I kind of got reinvested in it, but I kept asking myself, like, why was I not into it for that period of time? And I realized the thing that was drawing me to it was music. That's why I chose musical theater. That's why in acting, I would be more drawn to characters that were singers, or that I would want to pitch my songs for publishing rights for to be on TV. But that was always the common denominator, was the music. So then I was like, you know what, let me just dive fully into this and see where it takes me. So that's where I'm focusing all my energy right now.
Wow, that's crazy to me. It's good for you to figure that out because that takes a lot of, I mean, you're dipping your toes. And I think as young creatives, we're excited by the arts, period. So like you're saying, it might go under the umbrella of acting, maybe some modeling. You clearly had a skill set for makeup, which is also very helpful for you, even just as far as being your own artist, then that kind of saves you.
Yes, I had a casting today and I was like, oh, thank God I went to makeup school.
I can do my hair and makeup, check. Right, exactly. No, truly, it's super helpful. So it's a great skill set to have. You're like Megan Thee Stallion. Megan Thee Stallion does her own makeup, has for a minute. She just started kind of like doing people, but I admire that so much. And she takes so much pride in it, which is a really cool thing. She's like, I know how to beat down my face. This is what I like to look like. It's a part of your process too. I feel like the actor side of you, performer, it's like a part of you getting ready to go on stage, right?
It is. It's like almost like insert Rocky theme music, like getting pumped up to like go on stage or to do really.
Yes. Do you ever do different looks for different either shows or occasions? Do you switch it up, or do you feel like do you know what I mean? Like, do you ever do like an extra moment, or do you feel more confident when it's just a glowy, like luminous glam?
I don't know. I used to wear a lot of makeup, and there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing like bad. I love it and I embrace it, and I like, but I've been more drawn to the natural side recently. But sometimes I'll throw in a little red lip or a little smoky, brown neutral moment.
Girl, you're capable. Yes, exactly.
For like my music videos, there was one music video I did for my song Marathon that I never released, and I was actually thinking about re-editing it and maybe putting it out, but I'm painted in all gold, rhinestoned coverings.
No, you have to. You have to. At least give us a BTS.
Full body paint. So I've definitely gone there.
Don't tell, did you paint yourself?
No, I had an artist do it.
Yeah. Okay, because I was like, girl, I'd get like at least halfway down and then be like, how do I?
No, of course I thought about it. I thought about it. But then I'm like, no, there's too many hard to reach places.
Physically, no.
A friend.
Dude, I love that. Well, I was so lucky. I've actually gotten to see you perform, and I love watching you perform, my dear. You can hold a room. You have a really nice presence. You're also you have so many of the factors it takes to be what you will a star, as far as I'm concerned. You have the looks, you have literally the presence, your voice. So there's like the talent to back it. There's so many things. Is there, a lot of people don't know this about me, but I get a lot of stage fright. Like when I'm speaking or public speaking, it depends, and it depends on the arena in which I'm doing it. But I have to do a lot of mental prep and anxiety, like shooing out before I step on. You've been doing it from such a young age. Has that faded? Has it normalized at all for you? Is it every time you still get those jitters, and what do you do with them when they come on?
For me, if ever I get them, it's usually because either someone's in the audience that's important or important to me. Like they don't have to be like the head of a huge label. It could just be like, someone that I'm like, oh, I've never performed in front of them before and I really care for them. Yeah. Or it's that I am not sure about like one line in my song that I keep messing up while I'm rehearsing it, and then I'm like, God, I hope I get this line right. I'm like trying to drill that in my head. It's more those kind of nerves, if anything. It's not like an overall thing where I'm like, oh, I can't step on that stage. I can't sing in front of people. I can't act in this room.
Yes.
But one tip, I don't even know where I learned it.
Yeah.
I'm sure you've heard this before. It's definitely commonly known, but that anxiety and excitement are the same feeling. So if you can just tell yourself, I'm not anxious, I'm not nervous, I am so excited, I'm pumped up to get on that stage, that will help you so much, and just get really excited for it.
Right.
And turning that feeling into that, and not like removing the negative connotation.
Yeah. See, and that's a big thing. And I'm actually in the midst of learning that. Come on 27, and there's so many practices that I still have to daily get into that, whether it be performing or putting yourself out there, even just on Instagram. It takes a lot. I give people a lot of props for whenever and whatever stage, big or small, you put yourself out there. And a lot of it, when I talk to other creatives, it really breaks down to mindset. As far as what do you have to do to what is setting you apart. So many people looking at how do you do it, Lala? How do you get out there? How do you work so hard? How do you do that? It's mindset. It is constantly telling yourself, I can do it. I'm worthy of doing it. I'm talented. I love myself. I'm all these things that are constantly telling yourself every day. Are you an affirmation girl? Do you ever do daily?
Oh, yes. And if you follow me on Instagram, you see me repost them and I get people replying like, girl, what are you doing? You're going to start your own page doing this. But I share it because I'm like, I read it and I take that in and then I want to share it for anyone else who needs it. You never know who's watching your story. And I take signs very seriously. And a sign doesn't necessarily have to be something random that you saw on the street or you passed by. And it obviously that would be a sign, right? But it can also be you just randomly coming across someone's story or seeing something on your feed that pops up when you need it. So I am all into that. In May, I did a 21-day meditation challenge, and there was a task every day where you wrote in a journal and you did your affirmations and you said things out loud. And I'm very into that. Yes,
that is impressive. That actually leads me to a good question, because here's the deal. As much as I'm a hustler, and I have goals and I set them, and I'm really good at, once my mind is set there, to achieve them. But the way in which I get there, and this I'm talking about to this whole idea of us that we're younger, and you're coming on to me, and this whole series of this month of people we're bringing on is these young, successful, powerful artists, women artists it happens to be. But it's wild to me how in such a short time of life and experience that you can get to such a pinnacle, amazing place of success. So for me, I'm not good at consistency, okay? So even with routines, you hear a lot of really successful people speaking and like, you know what? I use the best of my days. I make the most of my days. I do this. I have my rituals. I have my routines, and I do work. And I'm like,
couldn't be me.
Couldn't be me either. I'm like, that is not, I've never not worked. Like, I'm always working, but the methods and the ways in which I'm doing it are not linear, like by any means.
You could probably though see your consistency in a different type of way. Every day you do something that is the same. Every day you wake up and you choose to work on your craft. That is consistency, even if it's not the same exact method of doing it. And you should be able to commend yourself for doing just that.
Yeah.
You know? How someone else does something is not how you maybe learn. Like, I was really bad in school, not like grades wise, but just it was so hard for me to learn because that's not how I learn. And I think everyone's different in how they process information and do things. So I think I'm very much that way. But
is there anything that you feel, as far as your even like day to day, what would be similar? What are some things that seem at least consistent enough in your life that you feel pull into the gravity of you becoming successful and achieving what you've done so far?
That is a good question.
Well, it's round. You don't even have to give it to me direct. You can be like, even some recent things you've done, because it's a big question.
Recently, I had a really good conversation with my friend who's also a singer-songwriter. I had a lot of momentum recently with like trying to reach out, like you said, with that spark that I had, that I was like, oh, I want to do music. All of a sudden, my brain was like, who do I know? And I started reaching. And then I was having like a really great response. Like, everyone was writing back to me. People were setting up meetings. People, were sending me songs that I could write to. And then one day, like, everything kind of just started to fall apart, where like someone would cancel a meeting and then someone else wasn't responding. And then I was having writer's block and I was just down, and I knew exactly who to call. And I called him and he was like, you know what? Just do one thing a day. You don't have to set 50 goals. So right now, my main focus is to just set one thing that I get done. And even if the rest of the day, and by the way, we are in a pandemic.
That part.
Like, if you get one thing done, if you get nothing done, you are still resting, which also adds to your success because you are well rested. You're taking care of your body. You're taking care of your mental health.
Yes.
Just doing one thing a day, whether it's sending an email, sitting down to try and write something, having a meeting, one thing. And as long as you can check that off your to-do list, you're set. And if it's nothing that day, then, still pat yourself on the back. It's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah,
right?
you woke up. Truly. No, and I agree. And that's the thing, I think too, that as far as we've been in this a year now, right? Just about coming on March will be a full year. It's crazy because people are like, you know what? I had the year off. I'm like, for sure, damn it, you didn't. I was like, this was the most stress-inducing time, because I was like, this was by no means a break. Like this was not a break for creatives just because we weren't physically working like we're used to. This was mentally, physically, emotionally draining. I didn't feel rejuvenated by this time off by any means. So yes, agreed. One day at a time, even the one thing or nothing at all, you guys are on the right track. It's fine.
And I also think people kind of dismiss the collective trauma we all went through, and also a lot of the news that came to surface, and a lot of the stuff that, you know, really eye-opening last in this year that, you know, really takes a toll on you. I think it's okay to rest. And I just remind myself, if ever I feel bad about not doing anything that day, that no one's doing anything. No one's doing anything. You're not falling behind.
Right.
You're not.
You didn't miss the gig. You weren't late to work. Like there's actually, and that's the thing that gets me too. I've had that where I'm like, oh, I have to go, and I'm like, what am I going? Where? What deadline do I have other than the one I've made in my head, which is still good. We need it, right? But, oh my God, no, it's absolutely insane. But it's crazy because you really have, you've been around the block, Lala, and you've gotten to dip your toes, like we mentioned, in a lot of different aspects of the industry. And I like that you're in tune to knowing that the parts of which, when you were acting, you were really in tune to the musical aspects of it. And that's where it's brought you back to now. Is there any moment that you've had specifically thus far? Mind you, you were at the very tip of the iceberg, my dear, as far as your career and everything that's coming for you, continued success. But I want to know if you've had a proudest moment, or just a really excitable moment that you've had thus far, whether it be music related or not. But I do want to know if you've had that moment yet for yourself, what it's been.
For me, I would have to say it was either my song Black Girl Magic and the music video for that, because I had just had a really amazing opportunity. I had gotten signed and gotten promised this really amazing deal that also it fell through, and that was my way of picking myself up and kind of creating something that I owned, that was all mine, that, you know, from the cast to reaching out to those people to getting 2 sponsorships from Black-owned, Black-run businesses to editing the video myself, you know, like all of those things where I kind of got to wear all the hats. And it felt really good. And also then performing it live, everyone, by the second time I sang the chorus, even halfway through, people were singing along and people felt it. And I was really vulnerable. That song, I put my heart on the line. I said everything I felt like I wanted to say. And people resonated with it. So it was either the process of doing it, I think it's just that project as a whole, because the process of doing it to releasing it to seeing the response, everything about it was just so, like, I still look at it and I'm just so proud. And sometimes you do things and you look back and you're like right. Cringe. And like, you know, I definitely have those moments for sure. But this one, I might cringe, but then I see someone else singing it or being like, oh my God, that line about like buying human hair for $27.99, like that is like, makes me smile, makes me feel good, and makes me feel it's worth it.
You know what's crazy? I love that that's your moment. And I think there's little things you mentioned there that I had zero idea. It's an interesting thing, and I kind of want to have you take me back there. When you originally, so are you still signed right now? To a record label, to a label? No, the things literally fell through as far as that aspect. We might touch on that a little bit if you're comfortable. But everything did. And the most powerful thing that's wild to me in that moment, rather than choosing, because I think these things in life, when things that we don't have any control over, you know, it's something you were probably really rooting on, excited for a deal and things that you had gotten in your grasp finally. And then for it to fall through, because that's listen, it's a business. Things happen. People don't realize it's not always just boop, 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 boop. There's a lot of no's, and then you come back and it's very cyclical. So it's crazy in that big pivotal moment for you that you literally made a choice to make an absolute positive out of it. And then come through and go, you know what? This just fell through, but I'm about to go ahead and curate and show people what I'm made of, essentially. And all that you're capable of, wearing the multiple hats. Did not know you edited that. Did not know you did all the production. I
bought a computer to edit it.
Like, that is insane. Like, that in and of itself just says so much, Lala, about your character. And I hope young girls, especially, that are coming up in this industry, take a note. because there are going to be so many rough patches, not cute or pretty moments, not fun moments, a lot of low lows. And not to make it all sound depressing, but it is a hard business. This isn't
Absolutely.
easy, and you got to have a thick skin.
Mhm.
But to see all the success that has even come out of the song, I love the challenge that you're doing this month of February for it. It's so amazing for Black History Month. It's beautiful. And it's already, I've seen it recycled so many times from makeup artists that I know personally that are huge, like Danessa Myricks, who is a huge, well-known Black makeup
I
artist.
know.
I was like,
That was really like,
yeah, I was like, okay, fine. I was like, but it's so exciting to see that when you align with something and your purpose so strongly, it will resonate. It's
yes.
just automatic. And so the fact that you did and stepped into your power in a low moment, that's really powerful. And that's a lot of courage to do that. So I'm giving you full praise for that moment. Like, that's wild to me because I know I need like a week of like, don't nobody look at me if I've lost.
No, I want to preface that with,
yeah.
I did have that time. I gave myself that time. And anything that happens in my life, I say, okay, something happened to me, you know, that's making me feel down. I, you know, give myself an allotted time of how I can feel. And then there's a point where I'm like, all right, snap out of it. How are we going to fix this? How are we going to move on? And that's what will bring you to the next level, is feeling your feelings so that they don't randomly come up again later on, or that you have something suppressing you or bringing you down or holding you down, because that can be hard to create with something weighing on you.
Absolutely.
And then having that turnaround moment of being like, all right, enough crying, enough sleeping all day and sitting in your room eating ice cream, and do something about it, you know?
Yeah. And that's the big thing. I love that. And it's good to know and needed, where it's exactly when you do have the lulls, when you have the, damn it, I didn't get that job, or okay, that didn't go through, take it and feel and live in that moment, which is that you're allowed to be disappointed. You're allowed to be upset by things 1,000%, but it's how you get back on the wagon, which will keep propelling you forward. That shows like you just need to keep, that's when I think they talk about the hunger and the drive. That's where that comes in. You can't let it kick you down to the point where it stops you. You have to keep clapping for yourself and cheering yourself on the whole time when others are choosing not to. And that can be really hard, but it sounds to me like you have a really incredible support system around you regardless. So that's always nice to have as well, right? So mom and dad as well. Is mom still, is she in the forefront with you at all? Is mom at all any sort of manager to you? Is she a part of anything with you?
She is definitely my momager. She finds like really great you know, opportunities for me, and will send them my way and ask me if I want to do something, or if there's like someone that I can have an interview with, or a paper that's, you know, releasing press releases and stuff like that. She helps me that way. She's like PR.
I love it. I love it.
But I have an agent and manager who also deal with that stuff, because I think it's important too, like growing up with your parents in the industry, that they're just your parents, you know?
Right.
I
learned anything from Beyonce. We know that it just didn't work out, right?
From a lot of people.
Yeah, true.
But I just, you know, I want my mom and my dad, and then I have my agent and manager for that. And
I love that.
They love helping, like it's something they want to do, but I also don't want to rely on them for that. Like that's what also I think gave me my like fire, is that, you know, I'm self-sufficient.
Yes.
Yeah,
it's a nice thing to know that it's like you have those resources essentially by your side, but to see your own capability and know that you did it on your own, just with the support, not the handout, versus, you know what I mean? It's very different. It's very empowering, and I'm glad that you chose that route. It's beautiful to see, and you've done it very, very well. Very well. I love that. You mentioned that you've always been in the arts since you were little, and then growing up with parents, obviously, that were also in it as well. I believe your dad, is he producer, director? Is he a writer as well? He kind of has
more producing,
okay. And mom is more like PR, like actual like managing side.
Yeah, but she's also an actress.
And she is too. Oh my God, I know she was an actress. Okay, so see, that's phenomenal. So as a young girl, younger than you are, so crazy, was that anything, were you showing interest before they were like, oh, she's totally into this? Or were they more like, hey girl, try this out? And then you were like, oh wait, I love it. Like, was it kind of curated, or was it naturally there?
Yeah, I think I was just kind of, it was like second nature. Like I was just put into things like before I don't want to say before I had a choice, but just I was in tap class at 2 years old. I had seen seen my first Broadway show at 6 months old, and people were looking at my mom like, why are you bringing a baby into this theater? And I somehow like didn't cry. I wasn't like that kind of child. Like I was just always around it. I don't know what that show was. I have to find that out. But
yeah, where did she see this? Yeah.
I forgot what show. But yeah, I've always been around it. All my babysitters were in the arts, and
yeah, like you really were submerged.
Like, you know how people are like, oh, my parents always like had the record of like the Beatles, or like, you know, we're listening to this. I was listening to show tunes. Like,
1,000. Yeah. No, that makes sense.
Next to Normal, Wicked were like my soundtracks. Like I always was a part of it. And I think it just naturally kind of progressed into something I wanted to do and I had fun doing.
Yeah.
My mom dropped off my school picture at Telsey's office, and then I got called in for South Pacific, and that's how I got it. But
that's nuts.
And then I just loved the cast, and I loved the environment, and I loved doing the show, and I liked rehearsals, and I liked singing and all that. Mm-hmm. But then I got to a stage in like my pre-teens, which is when you're like rebellious and like I don't want to do anything. Yes. So like after the show closed, I definitely was like, I want to go to real school and have a locker and be with other kids and like all that stuff, because I was homeschooled too. Yeah. So I like, you know, felt deprived of a lot of my like childhood.
Like normalcies. But yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then that's when I realized that I didn't choose it for myself. That's kind of more so when I turned to makeup, and I was like, oh, this is something that I'm choosing, that I had fun doing, that is my thing. I made my own business. My parents were not involved in it and all. Like, and then when I decided to go back to music, that was again my choice, and acting was my choice. So then I did fall in love with it, but because I actually liked it, not because it was just my environment. So now it's reaffirming that like, oh yeah, this was what I was supposed to do.
Yeah. Oh wow, Lala, that's crazy to me. See, that's really cool. It's an interesting thing. Also, what is your sign? Because I think you definitely like it. Okay, yeah, we're both there. I was like, what?
I knew that. And I'm an Aries, like every, so.
Girl, you're fiery. That's why she's like, nobody's making decisions for me. I'm going to be the one to make decisions. That's crazy. You know what's wild though too to me is that Aries, we can be so strong and minded in having our opinions and being like, this is what it is. But we don't always present that way. We're actually super kind, pretty soft when people meet us because we're very accommodating as well. You know, I know you very much as far as that when I've met you, and in spaces, you are so, your energy can be really high, but you also just have a calm, steady, firm attitude. You feel me? So it's not meek by any means, but you're to yourself. Like you don't need to be in drama. You don't cause. It's very much like you're about your business and you do your thing and you're focused and you have fun. And I've always gotten that from you, but it can lean on the quiet side because when I'm zoned in, I'm pretty quiet. And people think automatically because when they know me on my high highs, they're like, "What's wrong with you when you're quiet?" And I'm like, "I'm fine. Everything's fine." Did you, when you were little, when you were going into auditions and doing things, were you the shy girl or were you a little bit more extroverted?
You know, it goes back and forth. I think that I'm extroverted when I want to be doing something. If I don't want to be doing something or I read a script and I don't feel like, because there was a lot of like, at that age, you get sent in for like Disney and stuff like that. And there was a lot of like character acting that didn't feel like me. And that's when I couldn't physically do it. Like, I can't, like, I don't know how to bring that out of myself. And now, you know, I'm getting better with that. But for sure, as a kid, I was more like, I just kind of want to do what I want. And then when I'm excited, you'll see that. And if I'm not, you'll see that too.
Yeah, you'll see it too, right? I think we have a hard time faking it. Like it's really hard to not.
Yeah.
Hard to like just not show. And like you said, if I don't want to be doing something, you're probably going to sense that I don't want to do it.
I don't know if that's like the Aries or the New York.
Yeah, true. Right, because you were born and raised here, right? Girl, that's crazy. What borough?
Hell's Kitchen, Manhattan.
Oh my God, that's wild. That's crazy. Yeah, see, that born and breeds you in a whole different environment as well, and energy and being ready to like go and do things. That's so crazy. I do love that though, that you took the moments and made it your own, did what you needed to do with your career when you were ready to do it. I think that's a big thing for young people that are coming into this. Do it in your own pace. We live in a world that is very rushed. super fast paced, get there, and it's very praised to be young and successful, to be the Forbes 30 under 30, to make these marks in your life that are really high success points. But sometimes it comes at a really like shitty cost. Like you're saying, it's like you didn't get to do certain things as a child because your focus was elsewhere. And we hear that a lot from like child stars or people that are in the business. When you have to really make it, your focus is 110, has to be on the game, if you will.
Yeah.
It has to be there. And I felt that way in my young 20s. I wasn't dating. I wasn't going out. I didn't experience nightlife in New York. I was just literally going to school, going home, working, building my kit, focusing on makeup. And I couldn't departmental anything. I just like had all my focus, and I felt like I lost out of my young, like running around, just doing things because I was so focused.
Yeah.
And it's, you know, not to say throw everything to the side, but it is nice to find that balance of just knowing that whatever is meant for you, as corny and cliche it is do it in your own timing, because it's going to come. You don't need to like pound it down all at once just to get to that success point, because then what is it worth? The journey is always the funnest part. Always. Yeah. You know
who I really respect too, and like well, I'll say this first. Like, I saw this post that was saying, like, do things at your own pace, do things at your own time. Some people get married at 40. Some people, like, this happens. Some people, like, get their first job when they're 60. You know, like, I've seen that people just have their own timelines, and that's cool. Yeah. I gave myself a break because I wasn't into it, and I think I could have gone down a really bad road if I kept going, and I wasn't interested in it. I could have just thrown auditions away. I could have acted a different way that I didn't like. That wasn't really me, because I was just not happy. That happiness is everything. Not being stressed is everything. But what I was going to say before was that I really respect Karen Olivo. I don't know if you're familiar.
Yes, yes, 1,000%.
Like, she left the business for 10 years.
Yes.
And moved away, and then like came back and was Angelica and in Moulin Rouge, and like that, you know, just shows you that you put in the work. You're never like wasting time. You're not, and there is a hustle that you have to have in New York, in LA, in any type of like in the business.
Mm-hmm.
But
yes.
But at the same time, life doesn't stop, and you have to also have the moments where you know, you have your relationships, you have, you know, losses maybe, or you have your family time, or you have kids, or you know, whatever. And you're allowed to take that time to just have a normal life.
Right.
Not everything is your career, not everything. Because I think for sure one thing like this pandemic has shown all of us, but specifically like what I am taking away, is that, did I forget it? No.
No.
Is that, you know, at the end of the day, what do you have? Right. When everything is taken away from you, when your business stops, when you're not allowed to go outside, do you have like a roof over your head? Do you have your family? Do you have your friends? Do you have people you can talk to? Do you have your, you know, anything like that?
It's the four core things that really start to take the forefront, right? It's almost
like don't need much to survive.
We really
is what I mean. So like, it's good to take that time to check in and say, am I happy? Do I want to be doing this? And just making sure that, you know, you're able to just be happy and not stressed.
Yeah. And what does that mean for you? I had to do a lot of that soul searching in this pandemic, because for me, I realized I did not notice until about 2-3 months in, because for a minute I really thought we were just going to be on this like for a second and we'd get back to it by fall. So I was like, I can take a sun, I'm fine. But I really realized, I was like, whoa, a lot of my identity, like what I think my purpose is, and like my date, everything is wrapped into my craft. So then when I wasn't doing my craft every day, I had a lot of self-worth talk to myself. What do I offer? What do I bring to this world? What am I giving back? What do I do? Because I get so fulfilled with my art, and I'm sure you can relate. It's like when you're, you know, doing music, you're putting stuff out. It's like you feel like you're giving back, and you're doing something with the universe. You're aligned with your purpose and your passions. And so when you're not really doing it, the other things, you're like, God, I gotta have them. I have to have them. Because also when that's not going the greatest, or when I do want to go and spend time with family, or I do have other shit happening on the back burner, or if you end up putting it there, like family and friends sometimes do when your career's on the total priority, they're the most important things too. You know, you do realize that as well. Because I realized, shit, even if my career was like soaring high, but if I had nobody to share it with, it really ain't shit. Like, it really is worth nothing if I don't have friends or family to support and be there for those experiences. Because I've gone and done the jobs by myself when I was like, God, I don't know. I've always had roommates of some sorts, and now that I live with my boyfriends, I've never actually gotten that like time by myself, which I was like, damn it, I kind of wanted that. I don't know. Have you had that yet?
I had that. I did it.
Yeah.
And now I'm back to like, you know.
Yeah, it's the life. I know, I feel you. So it's crazy because I was like, damn it, I always like told myself, like, have that time to yourself so you can like just enjoy. I know it's very empowering. It's like traveling by yourself is very empowering. But I've done jobs where I'll go and I'll do it. And if I wasn't proud of it, I didn't share it with anybody. And it really does. It's such a dark place when you have nobody to even just confide in or talk about or do something. It's just wild to me. It always like clicked where I'm like, wow, this really, the paycheck I just got from that job or that opportunity, that thing that just happened, literally means absolutely nothing. Doesn't fuel any of my happiness. It's all the getting to share with my friends or family that means the absolute most. So yeah, very, very true as far as that. You're going to need more than your craft to carry you through. And I think even the biggest stars feel that because when they're so caught up in the game, I don't know if you've ever, I always refer to Beyonce just because I like idol. But you ever see her in that documentary way back when she had like just had the first baby and they were like, her mom told her to like go vacation and see the world, like take time off. She never took time off. Right. She was like, how are you supposed to be creative or write songs or do anything or be inspired when you're literally not living? So you've got to find that switch, which kind of brings me to a random question because I want to know, you had mentioned it earlier. Do you write your own stuff?
I do.
See, that's crazy. That's crazy to me. Is there any big source, like you said, and we have writer's block. As a creative, of course, we get in those stumps of like, I just don't feel inspired or I don't have an emotion maybe to go off here. Where do you usually stem? And I'm sure it comes from a lot of places, but what gets you in that kind of inspired mood to sit and be able to write a song? That blows my mind.
I more so write lyrics and like melody is more like my specialty. I don't play anything. So I go to my best friend, Dan, and we write together. Yeah. And we bounce off each other. We have the weirdest, most amazing cosmic relationship where we're both Aries as well. Oh. And exactly. And we get together and I'll have like a melody that I'm thinking of and I'll like sit in my voice memos and record it. And then I'll go to him and I'll be like, hey, do you have any like tracks that we can like write to? Because he's more of a producer. And he'll show me something and my melody will go perfectly with it. Like it's unreal and it's something that you kind of just have to like be in the room to experience, but we'll say the same thing at the same time, like a lyric. Like I've found my match with writing for sure.
Love that.
That's definitely like, we just write so well together. I guess I get more inspiration from real life things, how I'm feeling that day. But sometimes I'll hear a track and I'll say a random sentence. And I'll be like, that's a good story. Let's write about that. And I have things that in my life that resonate with kind of everything. Like I've been through it. But but usually it's something random that then I make personal. I kind of go backwards like that.
That's really cool. See, my brain, I have so much respect for it because I can't. I think I used to I wrote my diary a lot as a child. So I would like write things and then sometimes it might get a little like poem-esque, but like, girl, no, that's just not my.
I love to hear it.
No, God, no. You're going to be like, this song is Lola. This is not good. Bad quality. I'll stick to the makeup. That's crazy. But that's really exciting. I love that. And it's fun because you don't always find that and it can kind of make the process a little more frustrating when you don't. I feel the same way when we're on set. When you find the right teams, the right people, it makes everything just marry together and do what it's supposed to do. So I do love that you have that and found that.
Yes. And I try to write on my own. But it's hard. It's hard to bounce off yourself. It's like, girl, you know, start going in every direction. Like,
right. No, it's a teamwork thing. Like you can sometimes have a really strong vision and you bring it, but I think as creatives, there are scarce places that it's ever a solo moment. Truly. Yeah. Like it's really not a process and how we work and create and do things. Because even when I do makeup at home, even if I'm playing on by myself, I'll go, even though I know he knows nothing about it or damn near kind of cares-ish, but I'll go in and show him. I'll be like, what do you think? And he's like, oh, I like it. And sometimes he'll give me opinions or show me things, and it does make my brain think. You just appreciate to bounce off somebody, right?
Yeah, and that's why we need people. That's why the pandemic is so hard. You know, keep going back to that, but that's just where we are now. But like, that was probably the hardest part, just not being able to bounce off anyone as a creative specifically.
Yeah, we need that connection. I definitely learned that. I'm like, whoa, I used to run home. I didn't go to a lot of parties on Broadway or when people go out and drink and do things. People think Aries sometimes too, we're extroverted, but like, girl, we put out a lot of energy during the day. I want to go home. Like, I'm such a homebody in the evening. I did my work. I gave my energy. I want to go home now. Yeah. So it's so crazy that I never want to go out. And now I'm like, I would love to go for a coffee. Like anything will do at this point. It's so crazy. But is there anything you're working on latest? Like, what's your latest things that you have for us? Obviously, don't share anything that we can't know or that is in the works, but is there anything you could tell us?
Yes. Right now I'm more focused on kind of getting other people involved in my music with the challenge. I started the Black History Month challenge.
Yes, her story.
And I'm also calling it the Black Girl Magic Challenge.
Yeah.
And I think I'm gonna actually extend it into Women's Month because March is Women's Month. So it's like Black History Month, Women's Month, it's Black Girl History Month.
Yes.
So I started this challenge where I just kind of wanted people to feel their best selves, where I would perform it live and then see people singing it. And I just want them to create TikToks, reels, any like stories or posts, just like to embrace how they feel about themselves and do like their best transition on TikTok or their best makeup look, whether they do fashion, whether they tell stories, they can lip sync to it, just feeling themselves. I just want people to feel empowered. And I also think that in the whole Black Lives Matter movement, you know, the intersectionality of it, like with women still being kind of the second to Black men, then there's Black women, you know, and then there's like, you know, so there's a whole bunch of umbrellas, and I just want people to embrace themselves and give more BIPOC women more of a voice, you know.
Yeah, it's like never going to be a thing, I feel like, where it's not needed, especially positive, you know, content as far as Black women, and seeing the imagery of it where it's powerful, empowering, using their craft. It's not overly sexualized. It's just beautiful Black women being in all the dimensions that they are and the layers to them, and which are so complex. Even women, period. My God, like what we offer. It's just so crazy. So I love that you as a young Black creative are doing that and creating that platform and using your platform to say, this is how I want things to circulate, along with my name, my brand, my music. This is what I want to put out. And that's really powerful. You're setting yourself a precedent really young and strong. And it's so beautiful to see, because unfortunately we don't always see that from young women or men of any color. They come into, you know, the industry or their music and they immediately just want clout, or they want to get, you know, Instagram famous, and they just want to get big fast. So they'll do whatever at any cost to just exceed, you know, receive this success.
Yeah.
Put air quotes on that success. And so it's really beautiful, Lala, just to see the way in which you're using your platform and how you're going about it. It's really beautiful. And I love everything you're doing. It is so much taste and pride and integrity, and it's amazing. No, absolutely. Yeah. That kind of brings me tonight. Go ahead, baby. Yes.
Sorry.
No, it's fine.
No, I mean, anyone's welcome to do it, but I especially love to see like a collaborative effort.
Yes.
Like when Danessa, you know, or like the brand Ofer who like sponsored the video, or Tiania Barnes, like their brand, and then my song being collectively promoted.
Yes, which is a really cool thing too, because I feel like as an artist, it's almost like watching your art. That's how you picture it. You know, you picture people in a car listening to your music. You picture it creating a scene or being in a movie and coming to life, if you will. So it's really cool to see it. And it's even more powerful. It's like your soundtrack to a movement, or your soundtrack to a creative piece that speaks to you. It's beautiful. You've done it seamlessly well. The whole concept and everything behind it. It wasn't just like this cheap challenge. It was so much deeper. And I really commend you for the timing and the thought you put into it. Was perfection. Absolutely. That kind of leads me to my question. I want to know any advice that you feel like you could offer younger women, especially as far as what we're talking about this month on the podcast, that are coming into the industry. You've been in it for quite some time. Is there anything that you could offer them if they're a young artist like yourself with similar shoes to step in? What advice would you feel like you could offer them?
I would probably say, as cliche as it is, keep going. Things are gonna happen to you, especially if you are a young woman of color, or just, you know, someone with more challenges that they're naturally going to face, you're going to hear things that might bring you down, that they will specifically try to bring you down. Just keep going. Take your time to feel your feelings. You know, we don't always have to be the strong Black woman. We can also be sensitive Black women. We can also be Black women with feelings. We can be women, period, with feelings and emotions, and that's fine. Men with emotions.
Right.
And just to persevere, like I was saying previously, you know, take that time, you're allowed it, and then snap into a new perspective of, okay, now how am I gonna move forward? As well as find out who you are. Like, I'm still learning, but I don't want to just copy so and so or like do that. And you can find inspiration, but you know, I learned that in makeup school too. But like, you know, they always said that, like, find your inspiration, don't just copy something, you know. Be your own person, tell your story. You know, the things that make you unique are gonna be those struggles. So maybe turn the lowest points of your life into some art that would make you possibly, hopefully, go into the best part of your life.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I wish you were around when I was.
I wish I was.
Yeah, I'm like, where was I when I needed me? Yeah.
You know what my favorite saying is, though, too, is be the person you needed when you were young.
Yeah. Oh, girl, if only it's very true. It's wild. Have you ever read that book? There's a small book where I think it's like a handful of celebrities and then some like poets and some other people, and it's like it's notes to your younger self. And they literally had a series of like 30 women writing a letter as their present day self, like if you and I were to do it today, and then talking to yourself, your younger self, saying, don't worry about this, or you're going to be so good about that. That used to stress you out, but trust me, it's such a beautiful thing. And it is crazy, just like you're saying, staying in tune with yourself and being as honest and as complicated as that can be. I tell myself all the time, we're at a stage in life, I feel like our 20s, and fuck it, I don't even put a cutoff at 30. There's even going to be 30s that I'm going to be changing my mind. I say all the time, I'm going to change my mind a lot. And I think as a society, we get caught up in cancel culture or people making mistakes or taking routes of their life or doing choices and making things. I do think there is a line with some things. I do think there's just bad behavior and then not. So let's not go there. But as far as on a normal, just people being people and learning and doing things, we just have to be more gracious with ourselves, especially when it comes to the learning process. You are going to make mistakes. Embrace them and be okay that you are going to continually grow and change, and be okay with it and excited by it versus stunted. Because the more that you think you need to be perfect the first day, let's say even you're just hopping on Instagram to create reels and do content, it's not as perfect or beautifully lit, or the song wasn't the best song you've ever, it's never going to be. It is never going to be when you first go out. You just have to jump in and embrace the imperfections along the way, and you'll find your way. So it's just absolutely duly noted to what you were saying 1,000%. I actually kind of want to ask you some fun questions because I want to know some things about you. I always ask because I'm always very curious where it takes me. It always takes me certain places, but I want to know something about you that people don't know.
I would probably say, actually, I was thinking this in the beginning of the interview, because you said that, you know, you always picture me as like this go-getter, like person who's always focused and like, you know, doing stuff. A lot of the time I am sitting in my room eating mac and cheese and just doing nothing.
Yeah.
A whole
lot of nothing.
I know. A lot more than you think. Sometimes, you know what I'll do is like, okay, so I had a casting today and I have makeup on, so then I'm also talking to you now, and then later I'll film a video, so that all week I don't have to do anything.
Oh, girl, no, that's so much harder. Yes, no, that's good. That's how we do it. You have to. At this point in the game, I do the same thing. Like, I'll be like, all right, because I don't want to have to get up every day. Again, with the routines, I can't do the same shit every day now. So if I have the motivation that one day I'm going to bang it out, and then I'll procrastinate till I have to do it again. That is very true. Yeah. That is interesting.
That's also more advice I got from my friend too, was that like, don't turn your passion into a job. Turn it into a job to where you can benefit from it and make money and support yourself from your art.
Yes.
But don't make it a job to where it feels like you're at a 9 to 5 at a desk every day, that you just hate your life. Like,
Dude.
do little things at a time, like, space it out, and also, like, if you need a break, just take it. Like, it's gonna help you.
Yeah, no, it's 1,000. I wish there are so many moments when we were like back in the normal air quotes world where things were like on full tilt, like go, 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 especially being in New York, two girls in New York. The grind and the energy behind it is that you always are moving and going. And so I was getting to the place of actually right before the end of the pandemic, or start of it rather, sorry, where I was getting off a Broadway show and I was kind of slowing down, but also I knew I needed to get into start working in TV and film because, well, I've been in the union for 2 years now, almost 3. So I just had all these like hamster wheel, like gotta go, gotta go, gotta go moments. But I was so tired. I was exhausted and I felt my body being exhausted. I didn't really want to listen because I thought, oh my God, how weak are you that you need to keep moving. Like you have no reason, you're young. You should keep going, keep going, keep going. And I feel like that mindset is just so detrimental because I've had it for many years. And I think it's finally caught up to me that it's just like, I'm not working hard enough if I do want these breaks. And so we sound like, a broken record, but it really is just so useful to listen to your body and take the breaks you need when you can. I know we all got to push through for the gigs here or there where you've committed and made that commitment. Definitely commit and have your integrity in line. But when you can, and we'll learn how to say no when you can, because it's just so useful not to just constantly grind the pavement. My God.
Absolutely. And like, so yes, to answer your question, I would say a lot more of the time I am actually not really doing anything
I
at
love
all.
that. More power to you.
People will be like, you're so busy. And I'm like,
am I?
What? Like, yes, I work hard. I do a lot, like, on social media. Social media is live, first of all.
Oh, it's a
like,
whole live.
let me just say that. Like, I am posting more and doing stuff, but you know how easy that is to do from your bed?
So easy.
like I have to
really make it look like I've had a fun day when I have done absolutely nothing.
Yeah. And so, like, I am working, and what you see, like, I try to be as honest on social media as possible.
You are.
But there are times where I'm like, I have an audition. I know certain agents are looking, so I'll post my cover that I did 3 weeks ago. Like, and people think I'm doing that right then and there, that it's all live, and it's not. So
no.
I'd probably say, I am hardworking. I am busy, but maybe not as much as you think.
I love that, girl. No, and it's beautiful because that's real and raw, and people do need to know that, because then it helps their mental health, and I'm so happy for it to know, like, okay, because they'll beat themselves up and maybe look. I'm sure there are 1,000 eyes on you that are idolizing and loving what you're doing. So it's beautiful. That's even ties into advice. That's smart, guys. Listen to her. Take notes. Take notes. My other question for you is, I want you to tell me something that you'd love to see change in our industry. We know there's a whole wheelhouse of things that are finally, like you had said early in the pandemic, kind of really revealed its ugly face to so many things that we've known and have been around for years. Race issues, equity issues, on and on and on, still women's issues, just so many things. And especially in our industry, it can get really dirty and it can be really nasty. As far as like the harsh realities of what we're saying when it comes to casting and life on set, certain roles, how people are treated, prices, budget, everything, rates, so much exposure, all of it. So with that being said, is there anything specific that you feel like you would either want to have a hand in or just would love to see keep making its ways onto the more, progressive side of life here?
Yeah, I'm like, where do I start?
Girl, I know, where do we start, right? It's crazy. So many things, first of all. So by all means, you can name one, and we already know there's a list behind it.
Yeah, I would definitely say, as much as diversity, I do see there's already been a slight change, and that it is changing and growing, and more people are, getting roles, and it's becoming more diverse. Maybe behind the scenes as well, because I know that a lot of times, and a lot of people talk about this, but like makeup artists not having the right shade, or hair stylists not being able to do certain hair types, or not even hiring people that obviously know how to do that. I really truly feel like that should be the bare minimum as that being your profession.
Yep.
But I would just say behind the scenes also, maybe in the wage gap, in how people are treated, in, you know, biases and how you think someone might act, or professionalism, you know, like there's a lot of I don't know how to say this, but just unfairness, I think, is what it is.
Really, it's an innate unfairness. You feel me?
Yes.
Like it's already stepping into the room. You and I, if we walk into a room, it's an innate look at her, look at me, and how somebody's already assuming simply off of color and maybe what they're assuming our backgrounds in, what connections we might have, how we might move, our politics, so many things that they think just
how much we should earn.
Truly, true, right?
Yeah, like it's a lot of implicit biases that I feel like need to just be broken down. And even to the point where I'm filming a lot of self-tapes right now. It's pilot season.
Yeah.
And I don't know how to do my hair for each one. I don't know what they want. And it could totally put me out of being cast just because I chose the wrong hair that day.
Right.
Or can you just see me as an actor? And then you could throw me in a wig, tell me to straighten it, tell me to leave it curly, or just hire more people who have the natural hair that is growing out of their head. Like, I just don't understand why I need to look like a certain way where I have like straighter hair to book this role.
I don't either. It's almost like casting and people who are in those roles and just their image. It's so uncreative. Yeah. They can't even sit there and imagine, like you can't picture, like you're saying, me in a different wig, or that my makeup could be this way for a period piece, or that I have to show it to you just so you can see it in front of your face, and if you're gonna allow it or not, or think I fit it. You don't have any sort of imagination and just look at my talent and ability alone, and then know that, yes, like you said, and then follow up with the hiring the people that are supposed to have this knowledge of hair and makeup to get us to where we need to be. Like, what? It's just crazy. It is crazy to me, and I agree 1,000% that is a big forefront, especially you and I being literally that is our two roles. Yeah, coming on set. And it's wild. There's so many people. I like that you mentioned that, because a lot of people still don't think that it's even a thing. That, wait, what do you mean people don't know how to do textured hair?
We had the whole skin tone. Yeah, we had the whole, you know, thing in March, or we had, you know, like, you know, I don't know. Yeah, people think that it's all solved because we posted black squares on Instagram, but it's a lot more than that. It's deep in any business, not even just entertainment. Right. Everywhere.
We're talking corporate, we're talking, companies, brands, we're talking about deeper representation. And that's why I love, I don't want to mess up her name because I don't want to be disrespectful. I'm pretty sure it's Sharon, either Coulter or Cutter. I'd have to look it up and make it positive because I have her in my brain as far as like her Instagram handle, but she's the creator of Oma Beauty. And she's also the one that did the pull-up challenge. Like she did the pull-up for everyone in all the companies in the beauty world to be like, I want to see your statistics. I want to see who are in your offices. You guys are all for the cause. You support Black. Okay, cool. Show me who works in your office. Show me who's representing your brand. Show me who's the CEOs and the directors. And it was embarrassing. Embarrassing, to say the least. And so it's wild. So yeah, there's a lot more work to do, and hopefully it's going to be a continued effort and change on a lot of people's parts, but amen to that. A lot to go, but hopefully with the clown out of office, we'll make a better segue. We can hope. Let's hope. Lala, thank you so much for giving me your time. You gave us so much beautiful advice and insight, and really like wonderful just like wisdoms to how to just carry yourself in this career. You've been embodying it, but you're so down to earth and real, and I'm just so thankful for you giving me your time today.
Oh, I appreciate you. Thank you for having me.
Yes, you're so welcome. Well, guys, if you do not already, follow Lala below. We're going to put all her stuff, her music, hop on her challenge this month. This is going to be coming out in the month. Yes, and March. Let's go, Women's Month. You reminded me because I did not.
Month.
Yeah. Is it birthday month? Wait, you have to be at the tail end to be an Aries, right? So you're March
31st, the last day.
Okay, I'm April 7th, because I was like, wait a minute, Aries, March. Okay, got it. Yay. Well, then happy birthday month too. Yay. Guys, thank you so much, and we will see you next time.